Man, we should start it out with like a joke bit at the front and then play the beginning of the episode, going to the intro. But I ain't got no jokes on me.
I got nothing.
I got nothing either. Well, drink more coffee. Maybe you'll come up with a good idea. Come on, if we're going to make this work. Come on.
That's the best I got.
Okay, maybe that'll work.
I'm so tired of having non-stop conversations about what the Bible says.
What standard are you pulling from to determine this is good and that is bad?
You're either on God's side or you're on Satan's side, the world's side. There is no middle ground.
The earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, as much as the waters cover the sea.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the King of the Cosmos. It has been a long, long time. I know that you missed me. Maybe not. We'll get into that later. So we wanted to start up this podcast again because people were giving me death threats to do it again. Okay, not death threats, but they were telling me, you better do it or else. So I decided to start it up again, and it's been 8 months. Yeah, it's been like 8 months since I've done one of these, and I didn't want to do it again until I had like a co-host with me, because until you start doing stuff like this, a co-host. Yeah. I'm gonna introduce you here in a second.
I'm sitting, I'm patient.
Patient and everything. Until you do one of these things on a regular basis, on top of your other work, it's a little bit draining. But with somebody else here to smack me in the back of the head, it should go just fine. So, in the time that, the 8 months that I was absent, I got married. That was good. Went on a honeymoon. Adapted myself to a new 4-person household. Many of those with 2 or more children out there know exactly just how stressful that can be. But, it's a good time. The good far outweighs the bad. And then, of course, in November, I released God Gave Them Up. It's an in-depth study on Romans chapter 1, verses 18 to 32. We look at that text, and we see exactly what Paul is talking about. And we see how it really is like a blueprint to the downfall of every nation. And we're showing a lot of signs of that in our nation today. And it's really scary to see, God's judgment start to play out. But, that should give us the motivation to speak truth all the more and preach the gospel to people all the more. A few months went by, and then started talking with this guy over here. In fact, I'll let him go ahead and talk so I can, sit back and do nothing. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm Jason. He wrote me into doing this a couple of weeks ago, talked about it.
And I threatened him more like.
Yeah. Started going to Otisville 2020-ish. Mm-hmm. Been about a follower of Christ for about that long too. We'll see how this thing goes. That's about all I got.
What do you do?
I'm an EMT, going through medic school right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good stuff, man.
Yeah. Yep.
Jason is going to be preaching here. Maybe he doesn't want me to say this. Put the pressure on. That means everybody show up all at once. He's going to be preaching on Easter Sunday. Where he's going to be talking about. Do you want me to say that?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Life, death, resurrection.
There we go.
That's about it.
That's what he's going to be preaching on. And is it like all the resurrections through the Bible, or what was it?
We'll touch on that. All the resurrections through the Bible throughout history.
That's going to be really good.
There's not many of them.
There's not many of them. Yeah, on purpose. you might say that one was trying to save that for a particular person to come in the first century. Yeah. Okay, got some stuff that we want to talk about. We're going to get into a more in-depth study at the second part of this episode. But there were some headlines that came up throughout this week. Plenty of headlines. There's plenty to talk about. We're not going to be able to get to all of it, and that's okay. But here's This Week in Headlines. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about is something that I saw on Christian Post. And here's the headline. Richard Dawkins understands 2 genders, but has a God delusion. I burped on the thing. That's embarrassing. Anyways, sorry about that. The God delusion thing is a riff off of his book, The God Delusion, and it's
funny. I didn't catch that.
Yeah. He wrote it, I think 5-6 years ago or something like that. I haven't read it yet. I wanna read it just so I can get into his mind and see the kind of arguments that he makes. But what I've noticed about prominent atheists is that their arguments are almost always the same, and they keep being defeated 1,000 ways from Sunday. But they don't want to actually deal with the arguments being made against their position. They just keep going on, not acknowledging the debate going on. But, in our day and time, it's very... Would you say that it's popular to believe in transgenderism and, stay away from the two gender only kind of thing?
I don't know if it's popular to believe in transgenderism, but it's certainly popular to go along with it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fair enough. It is more popular, more lucrative for your career to just go along with it. I'm reminded of the episode, I think it was Ben Shapiro that did with Neil deGrasse Tyson, where Ben was trying to get him to say that there were, scientifically, are there only two genders? And Neil deGrasse Tyson is like, it doesn't really matter, blah, blah, blah. What's the point of this conversation and everything? It was really, really unfortunate because even though he's an atheist, I have a lot of respect for Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's a smart man. He really is. But then you have people like Richard Dawkins. Now, if you know anything about Richard Dawkins, he does not care about what anybody says. He doesn't. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a bad thing. But he says with Piers Morgan, he was on his show or whatever it was with Piers Morgan, and he said, very plainly, as a biologist, there are two sexes, and that's all there is to it. I don't really know exactly the kind of pushback he has gotten from that or will get from that. Who knows? But, broken clocks are twice, or twice a day.
There you go.
This broken clock is a little bit broken, more, it's broken, whatever. But it's funny to see that in the realm of, political correctness and moral depravity going on around us, where people are straight up denying reality. It's interesting to see somebody who the left actually really loves. Okay, they do. He's part of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse for atheists or something like that. There's Richard Dawkins, right, Christopher Hitchens, and a few others. I can't remember them. But it's really, really interesting to see him go against the status quo and at least be consistent with what he knows to be science. Okay, what he doesn't go on to ask is who set up the gender binary. Do you have any words on that? Do you have any comment on that?
It's kind of, you've seen it with J.K. Rowling too. Everybody loved J.K. Rowling, especially the left. She was super pro LGBT, LMNOP, and retconned her Harry Potter books into changing races, sexuality, and all that. And then she came out and said the same thing after the women in sports or men in women's sports. She said the same thing, as it shouldn't be happening. Men are men, women are women. And then they just hated her after that. Absolutely. So it'll be interesting seeing what happens with this guy. The sad thing is that once you go down this road of sexual depravity in any nation where you rebel against God, you want to be your own God. You want to determine your own reality. You want to live life without Him. There is no stopping point. And, this is where you get, men pretending to be women in women's sports and causing, real harm to women. Real harm. And it's amazing to see traditional feminists come out in opposition to that. Hey, this is not right. This is anti-femininity. Femininity. Well, whatever. You know what I mean? And it really is. It's anti-feminine. it's funny. The whole thing about the feminist movement from a moral perspective, okay? Men are controlling everything and dominating everything, and we're oppressed and everything, okay? And then they allow transgender, what would that be? Transgender man or transgender woman?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Yep. Yep.
Into women's sports, and the men are dominating again. It's really sad to see, and here's the moral part of it. It's like really, really sad to see this happen to any nation at all. And this is what happens. This is exactly what happens when you have a nation that rejects God and His Word. When you have a nation that rejects that He is the authority, He's sovereign, He's ruler, He gets to decide things. I forgot to read it at the beginning of the episode. Because I normally like to read a Bible verse at the beginning of the episode. But in Psalm, what was that? Psalm 49? No, it wasn't Psalm 49.
Isaiah, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
See, this is why I need help. This is exactly why I need help. It's Isaiah 49. No, it's not Isaiah 49, dude. Maybe it's Isaiah 45.
We'll figure it
Isaiah
out.
45.
We'll
We'll get it. Yeah, it's verse 19. See, we're professionals here.
I got the Isaiah. You got the something. We got something.
Isaiah 45, 19. I did not speak in secret in a land of darkness. I did not say to the offspring of Jacob, seek me in vain. Here's the key part. I, the Lord, speak the truth. I declare what is right. And since the beginning of time, man does not like that. In one way or another, man does not like that God gets to call the shots. And that's, this is just a rebellion against the principle of that verse manifest in our nation today. And the only thing that is going to solve this is the preaching of the gospel. Other religions go out there and, well, what do? Conquer by the sword, compel you through threats of violence. Christianity is the only one, that says, no, we're going to take every thought captive. We're going to have dialogue. We're going to have discourse. We're going to talk about things. That's where we are today.
And it's getting harder. No, you're good. Harder and harder to preach the word. Listen to the Unashamed podcast, the Duck Dynasty guys. And who was it? It was Missy Robertson, Jace's wife, was out doing a book reading at a library in Tennessee. You think Tennessee, pretty well read state.
Yeah, like Bible Belt.
Yeah. Yeah. Her book didn't mention Jesus or nothing, just the main points of the gospel, really. She did that and ended up being Riley Gaines reading Bethany Hamilton's book. Riley Gaines was a swimmer that swam against the Leah Thomas guy. And Bethany Hamilton's the soul surfer chick, got her leg bitten off by a shark, I think, surfing.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Their arm, one of the two, I forget.
Something like that.
But
it
yeah,
was a limb.
Reading her book, and the other guy was Kirk Cameron, big Christian movie guy.
Yeah, I know that guy.
They were doing the promos before the reading, and the library staff kept making noise, playing music, shouting at them, trying everything they can to stop their book reading.
Yeah.
And I think only Kirk Cameron's book mentioned Jesus outright.
Yeah.
But all three of them big Christians.
Yeah.
And we were getting pushback.
So, drag queen story hour, that's okay. That's virtuous and good. Christians reading, Christian-based book. No.
Not a chance.
That's not good. Don't do that. That's evil. It wasn't too long ago that I preached, was it 2 sermons? Yeah. I do this thing where I prepare my outline for my sermon, and then I only get halfway through my stuff, and then I have to do a part 2. It was called What to Expect. And I went through case after case of Christians being lawfully persecuted. Not just persecuted by people, but, by the law for their beliefs, and they got accused of hate speech and stuff like that. And, here's the reality, okay? That stuff is coming here. And, I don't want you to think that I'm saying, oh, be afraid and everything like that. It's better to be, as it said, a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. if all of this stuff does not come here, okay, and somehow, by the grace of God, the nation repents, okay, and turns.
You didn't lose anything.
Yeah, I mean, that
You're
would
ready
be great.
for it.
But it would be wise to prepare yourself. So, anyways, you have any other thoughts on that before we move on?
Scroll down on that a little bit.
Scroll down.
No, right there.
Oh, okay. He's commanding me now.
Yeah.
I get backhands behind the camera.
Dawkins made this outrageous assertion, just reading from the article.
Yeah, go ahead.
Which you didn't send me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. We're
supposed,
good. Doing it live.
Yeah, I was supposed to like send him the stuff so he could get it in his mind and read the material before we started.
No.
But now I feel like a jerk. Anyways,
No,
go
it's
ahead.
working. We're good.
Okay.
It says, Dawkins said, Jesus was a good man and a man of his time had to be religious because everybody was.
Mm-hmm.
And that just, I read that while you were scrolling through it, and that's just,
Yeah.
Jesus couldn't have just been a good person.
Yeah. That's Dawkins
C.S.
saying
Lewis
that.
is
That's
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus could either be a lunatic, liar, or Lord.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Those are your only options. The only way that he could be a good man, okay, is if he was the Lord. Otherwise, he's a lunatic or a liar. Those are your only options.
Because what do you say? Follow me or you're going to hell.
Yeah, basically.
A good person doesn't say that unless it's true.
Unless it's true.
Right? Yeah, that made sense.
No, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it sounded perfect.
Okay.
That was good.
Yeah, we're
That was
good.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's about all I got with that.
Okay, and then I do want to kind of talk about what happened earlier this week with the shooting at, I don't know if it's a school with a church attached or a church with a school attached. I think it's the latter. Mm-hmm. I think it's a church with a school attached, where a woman who identified as a man, she went in to a school and killed 3 children and 3 adults. And the police did a great job, a lot better than the cops in, what was it, Uvalde?
Yeah. Did you watch the video of them going in?
Yeah, I
That
did.
was
It was
impressive.
systematic.
That was awesome.
And I was tempted on tweeting out a verse that day, Romans 13, for he being God's, the governing authorities, he does not bear the sword in vain. That's what it looks like when the government, being ministers of God, remember that's what it says in Romans 13, when they do their job right. It's sad that it has to happen, but they did a good job. And I just got to thinking about all of the moral applications of this. And churches are being silent on this. I don't understand why. Why are we not talking about this? Why are we not getting down to like the root problem here? What do you think the root problem is with this?
Lack of Jesus, ultimately.
Ultimately.
What it
Yeah.
boils down to. There's
Yeah.
a lot of side stuff, but lack of Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's a lack of Jesus, and therefore it's a lack of meaning and purpose in a human life. Mm-hmm. And when human beings lack meaning and purpose, true meaning and purpose that can only come from God, okay? Because that's how he designed us. He built us to love him, glorify him, obey him. And if we don't find that meaning in him where it's supposed to be, we will find it in all sorts of other things, and they will fail you 10 out of 10 times. And so, this woman, okay, I don't even know how old was she?
28.
She's 28?
I think.
So yeah, she was a
I think I
woman.
just
She
heard
wasn't
that
a
this
girl.
morning.
She was a woman.
Yeah.
She was sick. She was very sick. And it's just sad to see something like this happen. And we got to be praying for. One of the girls that was killed was like the daughter of the pastor there.
And didn't he preach a sermon the day after?
Oh no. I think it was the day before.
The day before he did?
About Jesus and Lazarus. Resurrection. Or did you hear something different?
I thought I heard he preached a sermon after, but
Oh, he did?
I could be wrong. Yeah.
What did you hear about it if he did?
That's all I heard was that he did it, and
okay.
he was praising Jesus throughout it, falling back on him. that's all you can do in that situation. There ain't no making that any better.
Yeah, that is all you can do at that point. I can't imagine what that guy is feeling. When you have kids, the good far outweighs the bad with kids, and you love them to death. You do anything for them. They become such a bright spot in your life, and to have one of them taken away is just pain beyond anything that I, of course, ever want to experience. But the guy, apparently, I'm going to have to check up on this later.
Yeah, I have to look
preach
that up
a sermon. Suffering itself is meaningless without God. If there is not a sovereign God who's sovereign even over your pain, okay, then suffering's meaningless, okay? Because, well, go ahead, sorry.
No, it's just meaningless. Read Ecclesiastes.
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite books in the Bible. I'm not going to pull it up because I don't have a verse off the top of my head, but it goes, that whole book is life without God, and meaningless, everything's meaningless.
Yeah.
Is what it boils down to.
It's all vain, meaningless, worthless. So it just breaks my heart. And but at least he is of the attitude in his sorrow and pain that his sorrow and pain means something. I don't want to live in an existence where my pain is just, well, sorry, kiddo, that's how it happens. And we don't serve that kind of God. We don't serve that kind of deistic God who just sits back in a rocking chair like old tired grandpa and says, "Oh, you got hurt? Well, sorry about that." No, we don't.
You see that a lot. Or I've heard that a lot. Death's a natural part of life. To almost celebrate death, and it's not. It's not natural to die. It's not good to die.
It's very unnatural.
Yeah. And the kind of, the word's slipping me, but the praising of death is weird.
Yeah.
And I see that quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. You have death cults out there that, they glorify death and everything.
That's what I was looking for.
When the entire point of the Bible is, how can we escape death? We've been appointed death, Genesis 3, okay, as the curse. And the whole Bible is, how can we escape death and death eternally? Death is not a good thing. It's supposed to be a bad thing.
If there's a way to escape death,
Yeah.
you'd think it'd be worth looking into.
Yeah.
At the very least.
But this is just a crazy book that, people in a cave came up with thousands of years ago that has no answers or no relevance to your life at all.
Yep.
Yeah, that's sad. Anyways, okay.
You ready to get into what we're talking about today?
Let's talk about
I got a good segue.
You got a good segue?
I do. So,
is it funny?
I don't know if it's
The
funny.
answer's no,
It's a good segue.
Go ahead.
So obviously this chick that did the shooting, serious mental health issues.
Yeah.
And so in my medic class, we're doing these discussion board things. They post a question, you got to answer it, respond to some people, yada yada. It's worth a grade. And the question was talking about psychiatric emergencies, mental health emergencies, and it got me thinking. You see, recently, mental health issues have skyrocketed, depression, anxiety, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Especially with the younger generations.
Yeah.
Hold
on, 2 seconds.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry.
No?
I'm sorry, everyone. My laptop is about to die. I know.
Unprepared. So,
Okay, go ahead.
something like, from what I've seen, like 10 to 20% of Americans struggle with depression.
Yeah.
So that would be like a, diagnosable depression, not just depressive episodes.
Yeah.
And I've kind of wrote some things down and figured some stuff out. That was my segue. I don't know how to get into the rest of it now. So we're struggling with depression. And I think it's because we're getting away from what we were created to do.
Yeah.
I went through, Genesis chapter 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And figured out, some of the main points of why God created us, what we were created to do. And I've kind of got them written down. We'll go through them and see how they're kind of getting pushed back or tossed to the side or downright attacked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first one, I came up with. God created us to work the garden. Genesis 2:15. Oh, I'm right there. Look at that. The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it. And Noah, after the flood, subdue the earth, rule over it. Right. That was the main commandment. So you're working the garden, you're working hard, and you're outside.
Yeah.
That's the big one. Found this number. Americans spend 92% of their time indoors.
Do you think, you at home, okay, comment, do you think that it's good to spend time outside?
Well,
what do you think? Let's talk about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got a spoiler alert for that. But every study says if you spend just 120 minutes a week outside, your mental health improves.
Oh, yeah.
And that only ends up being like 20 minutes a day.
You know what I think has a big part to play in that? You know, what's one of the main vitamins that we get from the sun?
Vitamin
D.
Yeah.
Vitamin D.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get vitamin D deficiency. And I think one of the drawbacks, as well as like a lack of energy and, you know, you get sick more often, is depression.
Yep.
And you know what didn't help with that? You know, we are creatures meant to be outside, okay? And what didn't help with that was all the COVID stuff, being locked indoors. And it made people more depressed, being locked indoors. You got more thoughts on that?
Yeah. I try to get outside quite a bit, especially lately, as I'm thinking more about the mental health thing. But Romans 1, she just talked about it earlier. Look at that.
Yeah, look at that. Book plug.
1 verse 20. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse. You get outside, spend just a little bit of time in nature, you can't get away from the fact that God's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite things to do during, you know, the summer months and the spring too, whenever it starts to get, you know, a little bit hotter, is I love taking my bike on the bike trail that goes from like Millington to Columbiaville. It's like a 10-mile stretch, 20 miles there and back. And the reason why I can do that, but I can't bike indoors staying still, is because I like the progression. I like seeing the green around me. I love seeing the birds, you know, fly through the air around me. And every single time I take a ride on that path, I'm constantly just bombarded with the reality that this is created. This shows design. This shows beauty. It shows purpose. Everything fits together so well. And I can't stop thinking about that whenever I'm going through the path and looking at all these trees and everything. It's just beautiful, and it's meant to be beautiful, and it's meant to be, you know, a way that we have no excuse for saying that there is no God.
Nope.
None at all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
But along with working the garden, we're outside, we're doing hard work.
Absolutely.
Which means we are...
Are you saying that this culture has problem with work?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. People don't want to work hard. And you see, we do. We just want it to be worth something. And it goes back to work's meaningless without God.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Everything is.
Everything is.
What's okay, I just built that house. Shoot, Mississippi, right? Going through the tornadoes right now.
Yeah, man.
All those houses are gone.
Yeah.
The destruction down there is awful.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But hard work is a good thing.
Absolutely.
And with God, it can be...
Yeah.
What's that word I'm looking for? It can be...
Pointless.
Enjoyable. No, with God.
Oh, with God.
Yeah, meaningful.
That was almost bad.
No, that was blasphemous. No, it can be meaningful.
Yeah.
But you see, they're pushing, and people are pushing for a 4-day work week. Free basic necessities, free food, water, shelter. Yeah. Which doesn't make sense because somebody's paying for it.
Yeah. There's... Can I interject?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
You know, there's... Without God, okay, work is just a burden and that's it. There's no fulfillment in it. And so it develops a culture where people they want to have all their necessities given to them. They want their food given to them, place to stay. They want some entertainment just given to them. I deserve, X free stuff. And, it develops the kind of person that we saw just a few months ago when the guy was fired from Twitter when Elon Musk bought it and everything. And he's done a good job so far. But when Elon Musk bought Twitter, one of the employees was fired and had to go get a job at Starbucks. And do you remember what he said?
What'd he say?
He said he's complaining because he has to work 8 hours a day. He's like, this is terrible. How do you expect me to... I have to work 8 hours a day. Yeah.
Welcome to real life.
Okay, anyways. But yeah, that's real life. Real life is work. And real life with God has work being meaningful and fulfilling.
Yep.
What else can we say about hard work?
Yeah, if you don't want to work hard, there's an easy solution to it. Genesis 3, verse 17, down. To Adam he said, because you listened to your wife and ate fruit from the tree about which I commanded you, you must not eat from it. Cursed is the ground because of you. Through painful toil you will eat food from it all the days of your life. It will produce thorns and thistles for you, and you will eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your brow you will eat your food until you return to the ground, since from it you are taken, and for dust you are, and to dust you will return. If you don't want to work hard, just quit sinning. That's our punishment for sin, is what it boils down to.
Yeah, which no one can do.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Work itself is a good thing. It's a very good thing. In fact, it's so good that Paul says in 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 10, for even when we were with you, we would give you this command. If anyone is not willing to work, let him not eat. Yeah, it's that straightforward. You don't want to work, you're not going to eat. Okay, that's how the system has been made by God. You want something, you work for it. There's a good, message there about meritocracy, meriting something. Of course, we can never bring that into our relationship with God. That's where meritocracy stops. Yeah. Okay, but meriting something, working for something, is a good thing. A very good thing. I'm reminded of, what's that princess movie?
You're just Princess and the Frog?
Yeah. Princess and the Frog.
It's weird.
It was meant to be a really left-leaning movie, okay? All these years later, I think it kind of backfired on him because it's a really good movie. I actually enjoy watching it. Whenever my little girl wants me to put it on the TV, and of course, parents always make sure you know what your children are watching. You watch it beforehand before you let them watch it. But I've watched it and it's fine. And the whole premise of Tiana, what she's trying to do is she's trying to what? Earn enough money to start her own restaurant. And she's working 2 jobs. She's exhausted. She's tired. But she knows that if she doesn't work for this, she's not going to get it. I really don't think that would fly today.
No, not at all.
Yeah, working for something you want is a good thing.
Yep.
A very good thing.
And we got to do it. Might as well rejoice in it.
Absolutely. Honor God in your work.
Yep.
Everything you do, is that Colossians? Everything you do, do to the glory of God.
Yep. And Romans, if I can flip there. There we go. Romans 3. This is like my favorite verse. I can't even think of it now.
Somewhere in Romans 3.
Romans 5, maybe.
This is the episode where we just flip through our Bibles and we're like, it's in there somewhere.
Yeah, the page. Yeah, it's in there. There we go. Romans 5, verse 3. That's where it was.
Okay.
Not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. And hope does not put us to shame because God's love has been poured out into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who's been given to us. Suffering's a good thing. It makes us stronger people. But only in the context with God.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's pointless.
Absolutely.
Go back to Ecclesiastes.
Absolutely.
I like that book. That's a good book.
Oh, yeah. That's a good book. Okay, what's the next thing that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so we got hard work, work in the garden, being outside. We were created to be in fellowship with other people.
All of this, mind you, once again, all of this is being attacked in our day and time.
Yep.
Okay? So go ahead.
Yeah.
Fellowship with other people.
Yep. Genesis 2:18. And this is going to get a little slap in the face, I think, to everybody. At least it was to me. 2:18. The Lord God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I'll make a helper suitable for him." Then he made, Eve and man and woman, and we were created to be with each other, to talk to each other face to face, interact with each other.
Yeah, we're social creatures.
Yep. But what do we see? I'll jump right to this. Phones, screen time.
Yep.
I got the numbers right here.
Oh, he has numbers for this.
I do. I can count, believe it or not.
See, this is why I needed him, because he's professional and, sounds better than I do. Go ahead.
Yeah. So kids 12 to 18. This is more focused on the younger generation with the phones and the screen time, just because, like, me and my mom were talking about it. Older people. I don't know if I can say that.
You can say older people.
Yeah.
I think.
I don't know.
We'll probably get some comments for it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Older than me people.
Older than me people. That's fair. That's nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
They grew up with video games, with some TV, but it wasn't the same type.
Absolutely.
The video games and phones that we have now are so much more stimulating and just take that dopamine and just grab onto you.
Yeah, and it becomes like an addiction.
Yep, which I'm raising my hand.
Yep. I get it.
So kids 12 to 18 average 7 hours of screen time a day, up to 9 hours.
Yeah.
Which, you got your phone on you?
I got my phone.
You got an iPhone?
Am I going to be condemned?
Yeah,
here?
go to your screen time.
Oh, gosh.
You might have it. You'll probably have it better than I do, but we'll see.
So what is it, like in my settings or something?
Yeah, settings. It should pop right up.
Okay, so settings.
Oh, you ain't got an iPhone.
No, I don't have an iPhone.
Oh, just hit that search button.
Okay.
And screen time.
Screen time. Okay. Screen time. Yeah, I don't
you
have
don't
a screen.
have it. You're lucky. So I'm just going to be the one convicted.
I don't get to condemn myself today.
I'm just the one. So today I'm only at an hour 14.
That's sweet.
It's 10 a.m. and I woke up 3 hours ago.
That's perfect.
Yesterday I got 7 hours. 6.5 hours the day before. 6 hours. Oh, look at that. 9 hours, 39 minutes on Friday.
Hey, I saw like a 4 hour in there. That's pretty good.
I've got some days where I'm 4 hours.
Yeah.
This week I got 0 because my phone was broke.
Oh, yeah.
We spend so much time on these phones.
Yeah.
7 hours or 9 hours ends up being like 30% of our time behind screen.
Yeah.
30% of our time now compared to 92% of the time indoors.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Is it okay? Let's say that somebody uses social media, okay?
Yep.
And we're not on here saying technology is bad, social media is bad. No, it's a neutral thing. It can be used for good or bad.
Yep.
We're not, like that. All technology is evil. I wonder if they said that during your generation when the radio came out or the TV. Anyways, where was I going with that?
You said something about social media.
Yeah. So when you're talking with people on social media, okay, and you're commenting back and forth or something, is it the same level of interaction that you would get from a normal face-to-face conversation?
Nope.
No, it's not.
No. Even just texting. It's not the same.
It's not the same.
You act different texting than you do in real life.
Absolutely.
You just do. You don't get that face-to-face. It's not good. You see a lot of downsides to it.
Yeah, social interaction is one of those things, once again, that has been majorly altered and hit by COVID, being quarantined, everything like that. You pull people away from themselves, and that social interaction goes down.
Yep. And what have you seen pop up just within like the last year? So you had TikTok come up.
Yeah.
Facebook got their Facebook Shorts. YouTube has YouTube Shorts.
Dude.
Instagram has whatever Instagram calls them. They're short little videos designed to just grab you, emasculate you, just ruin you.
Yeah.
And you'll just sit there and scroll.
You'll keep
sit
going.
there and scroll.
Yep.
Now I catch myself doing it before bed. I'm like, nope.
Yep.
Throw it down.
You have to choose
No.
to stop doing it.
It's
It's not an inherently bad thing, but they do design it so that they can, you can be addicted to it. Okay.
Very easily.
And look, I'm not going to condemn that outright. If you are going to sit there and scroll, why not throw some meaningful stuff in there? Why not, scroll or you can search on the YouTube Shorts thing, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
Christian videos, stuff about God. And, of course, that gets back to how much time we're spending with God instead of, just on technology itself, pulling us away from God. If you're using technology to, get closer to God, that's different, okay?
Absolutely.
But yeah, fellowship with man, communion with man, talking with people is completely just downgraded in the society.
Yep.
And it's affecting us. It's affecting our ability to communicate with one another. It's affecting our ability to reason with one another. Because when you don't have a whole lot of social interaction, okay, all you can do is emote. All you can do is just shout your emotions. I'm right and that's it. You don't want to have a discussion, a debate, a conversation with somebody where maybe they could prove you wrong and you're like, oh, hey, I never thought about it like that. Let me think about that again.
Because really, unless you really try hard, all you're getting on social media is echo chamber.
Yes.
It's just people spouting your same ideas, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah,
no. That's what we come to church for, is
true.
be with like-minded people.
Be with like-minded people. Yeah,
But
it's
if
not
you're-
inherently a bad thing.
But if you're always just in an echo chamber, never branching out, you can't interact with people who disagree with you or have different opinions.
That's why the church is the best example of that balance, because we are here with like-minded people on Sundays and Wednesdays if you're super spiritual. But the rest of the time, where are we? We're out in the world. We're talking with people. We're interacting with opposing viewpoints and stuff like that. The church is like the best example of that, best display of that.
Yeah, it is. But that gets into, I hear a lot, I don't have time to do that.
Yeah.
Working out, which again, I'm raising my hand. All these things, I'm raising my hand. Working out, reading the Bible, I don't have time. Go back to the screen time thing. 7 hours scrolling through
Data.
or your TV.
Yeah.
We've got the time to do it. We've got the time to spend in our Bibles.
Absolutely.
And that gets to the other thing we were created for, being in communion with God, fellowship with God.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, what two greatest commandments? Love God, love your neighbor.
Yep.
That's what it boils
That's it.
down to. And we were just talking about it earlier. Being in fellowship with God's certainly not popular today.
No.
It's definitely being under attack.
Yeah.
Under attack.
It's under attacked. Yeah.
Hey, we got it.
I know what you meant. But yeah, it is. It's being downgraded. It's being looked upon as, evil. I find it funny how people will complain about Christians raising their children, in a Christian home.
Yeah.
You're indoctrinating them and everything. Meanwhile, they're doing the same thing, just with, drag queens and their ideas about how the world works, their worldview. But, when it comes to communion with God, that is a choice that you make.
Yep.
It really is. And I think that's kind of like what you were building up towards. It's a choice that you make.
Yeah.
And you can say all day long, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to pray. I don't have time to read my Bible. But then you look at the data, you look at the science behind it, you look at some statistics that he pulled up on his phone, and if you did the same, yeah, you do.
Yep.
You really do. We all do.
And that's designed to stimulate you. This just isn't as stimulating looking at a page. But it's so much more important.
It is.
So much more valuable.
It feeds you in a different kind of way, a spiritual way that leaves you fulfilled. Like, I was preaching on some sermon. Maybe you remember this. It was like weeks ago.
Probably not.
Probably not. You probably asleep in the pew, weren't you? Yeah, everybody was.
No comment.
No comment. But,
I've gone through times. Yeah, and look, hey, guilty party. Preachers are like this too, okay? Where you'll be so busy with everything going on in your life, your personal life, your work life. You'll be so busy. And then you'll start to notice, man, I feel spiritually like garbage right now. I'm depressed. I don't know what's going on. And then you reflect and you're like, well, how much time did you actually get to read God's word this week? How much time did you spend praying? And it's like, oh, well, that's too easy. That can't be the answer. And then you get into it. You go ahead and you start reading. You go ahead and start praying again, okay? You have relationship with God. Yep. And you watch how fast that thirst is quenched. It's amazing the way that works.
What's your answer to? I just seen this the other day.
Oh no.
Oh no.
You can put me on the spot.
I am.
Go ahead.
I'm putting me on the spot because I don't quite remember what the chick said.
You sure it was a chick?
Yeah. What the person said. What's your answer to? I feel God in nature.
I feel God in nature.
I don't need to go to church to hear God's word. I can go out in nature because that's true, right? We can see God in nature.
Of course you can. Yeah. This gets down to a very simple thing of, I believe it's called natural theology.
Yeah. That sounds right.
Where, I can learn all that there is to know about God in nature. You can learn some things about God in nature. You can see that there is a God. You can see that it's very powerful, and by logical deduction that if something is here, something had to be there before to create it. He's eternal, okay? But you can't get the gospel out of nature. You can't get more of God's attributes out of nature. Like God is holy and righteous and good, and He sent His Son into the world to die for the sins of His people. You can't get that out of nature. So that's part number one. Part number two, I don't need to be in church. I can just be with God out in nature. Okay, I understand the heart behind it, but it's woefully uninformed. Okay.
Yep.
Because you had that verse in Hebrews where it talks about. In fact, which one was that? Hebrews, where they talk about, or the Hebrews writers, which according to Jeopardy is Paul. I can't believe that they...
Jeopardy's never wrong.
Jeopardy's never wrong. Yeah, right here. Hebrews 10:25. Not neglecting, he's talking to Christians here, not neglecting to meet together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near. How can you encourage a fellow Christian if you're not around them all at the same time? Yep. If you're going to say that you're a follower of Christ, and then you say, I don't need to go to church, I have nature, I'm not going to question if you're a Christian or not. I might, but at least you have an uninformed position on what the church is supposed to be. Mm-hmm. Okay, these Christians in the first century were being persecuted. Okay, they were being persecuted by the Jews, by the Romans, by whoever. They were going through it, and you have a profound effect. You have a profound effect on your fellow brother or sister in Christ when they're going through something, and you decide to come alongside them during worship or whenever and show them some love, encourage them. You can't do that if you're by yourself out in the woods. Yep. You can't. Us meeting together, the church meeting together, is purposeful. It's intentional. We encourage each other. And when you're going through persecution, you need that encouragement. We're not going really through persecution here in America today. They unfriended me. No, that's not persecution. Stop it. But like in China or in India, okay, where they're really being persecuted, you want to be around like-minded people. Otherwise, you're going to feel alone, and you're just going to give up. You're going to be done. Go ahead. Sorry.
No.
For a while.
Nope. I just thought of something. Paul uses the analogy of running a race a lot. right?
Yeah.
Run the race to win it.
Mm-hmm.
I did my my first Olympic triathlon with my dad, and we did it together. We didn't swim together because that's a little hard to do, but
Okay.
met back
He's
together.
taller too.
Huh?
He's taller too. Is he taller than you?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay.
It's not gonna do anything.
Doesn't that help you swim fast?
I
don't know.
beat him in the swim.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I beat him in the swim.
Well, he's old. Oh, oops.
Anyway.
I hope he's not watching.
He's who we were talking about earlier. Anyway.
Wait, the chick?
No, Dad.
Oh.
No, being old. Yeah, older
Okay,
than me.
go
Older than me. Back to it. We biked together. We ran together. And that, I remember running. It was a 6.2 mile run
Yeah.
after the bike, 24 mile bike ride. During the run, I stopped and started walking. I was just dead. And he's like, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Yeah.
We push each other on. And that's just the perfect analogy. Anybody who's ever ran knows
You're
it.
right.
It's so much easier to run with somebody than alone.
Yeah. That's really a good illustration. Yep.
Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Dad. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Captain Graybeard, right?
Yep.
Captain Graybeard.
Graybeard.
We might have him on in the future. So, okay. Are there any other points that are being attacked in our culture today, or did we hit them
we've
all?
got a couple more.
We got a couple more?
Yep, we got to backtrack a little bit.
Okay, do we want to hit them all today? Because we're at like 53 minutes.
Oh, really? Jeez.
Yeah, man. We've been going for a while.
Yeah, I think we can get these two pretty quick.
Oh, it's two?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm
yeah.
complaining
one of them's-
over here.
One of them's easy.
Yeah, go ahead.
To get married, have kids.
Yep.
One person, man, woman. Genesis 3, 18. No. Genesis 2:24. Let's look all the way back.
Notice I'm letting him doing all the flipping.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
That is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to get married. Have
Yes, it
kids.
is. It's a blessed thing. You know, some people can be fine, like the Apostle Paul was fine being single all his life. But for a lot of people, it's hard. It's good to be married and have a best friend.
You get to come home to somebody
Yeah,
who knows or who's with you in following Christ.
absolutely. Yeah, and so in your estimation, how is that being attacked today?
Well, you've got the
We can go a lot of places.
We
with
can
that.
go a lot of places, but my main thoughts were we've got the LGBT stuff going on.
Yeah.
Or the polygamy getting pushed today.
Yeah.
Polygamy's getting big, sleeping around.
Yeah, and not
with everybody.
not just from Mormons.
Yeah.
From just people in general.
Yep. And it's not good. Like one of the Crowder's big on this, but one of the main precursors to being a criminal is not having a father in the home.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
If you look at the statistics, in fact, I think my last Father's Day sermon last year, I think I brought up those statistics. When a father is not in the home, certain problems manifest in the child's life. And same thing with a mother. If a mother's not in the home, okay, certain problems will manifest. It's good to be together.
we were designed to work perfectly.
Absolutely.
Where guys falter, women are good. Where
Yep.
women falter, men rise up.
Yep.
And it's, kind of
Absolutely.
perfect.
Yeah.
It's a good coincidence
It is a good coincidence.
that we were designed
It's
like that.
it's almost like we were designed to be together
I don't know about
in a
that.
1-2 team. Yeah. Male and female.
Yep.
Yep.
I don't know. There's not too much to say more about that one.
Yeah, we could go so many places. That's an episode by itself. to be
Yeah,
honest.
it really
we
is.
can get into hookup culture today.
Yep.
We can get into, just general loyalty. What the purpose of marriage is. One person, one man, one woman together for life. Okay, not just they burnt the toast, so I'm out. We can get into a whole bunch
Yeah.
of stuff there. So let's just go to the next one.
And finally, following God's commands.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed this. They're kind of perfect. God's commands are.
Well, that goes. Yeah, absolutely.
And they-
Can you imagine
yeah.
if I said no?
That's the whole reason
Yeah.
we are where we're at today is because we didn't do that, right? We ate the
Yeah.
apple, which every single one of us would have done. Doesn't matter if
Yep.
it was who it was. Mm-hmm. But you just go down the list of the 10 commandments. No other gods.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make an idol.
Yeah.
Don't misuse the name of God. Remember the Sabbath. That goes back to the hard work.
Yeah.
Rest is a good thing so you don't burn out. Honor your father and mother.
Mm-hmm.
You shall not murder.
Yep.
You shall not commit adultery. Don't steal. Don't lie. Don't covet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the basic 10.
Yeah.
And they're perfect. You follow those and you're going to have a pretty darn good life.
Absolutely. And there's a whole reason why those commandments are literally the basis of many first world nations. British common law comes from that.
Yep.
America's law comes from that. Yeah.
And you go even deeper, you start reading the Levitical law.
Yeah.
We'll flip
Go
to
ahead,
it.
flip.
Because I can't think of the word. Genesis,
What?
Exodus, Leviticus.
What about Leviticus?
Where's that? It's like the first couple pages. It talks about a thief comes in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's
If you-
Exodus 20.
is it Exodus 20?
Thief comes in the middle of the night, and you kill him. There should be no blood guilt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 22.
Okay, my
22.
bad. But yeah, you read through these. They're perfect. They're perfectly
Yeah.
fair and
Yep.
just and righteous, and it's just awesome.
Absolutely. Yep.
But that's what I got it boiled down to about those 6 things we were designed to do.
Yeah. Well, you know why these are being challenged? Because there is no God, and
Yep.
so therefore there is no moral absolute. There is no objective right or wrong. Because end of the day, humans want to be able to decide right and wrong for themselves. That's what it's always been about. We want to be our own gods, and that's it.
Yep.
So yeah, is that it?
That's all I
We
got.
got through everything that we wanted to get through.
Touch grass, praise Jesus, talk to people.
Yeah,
It's about what it boils down to.
There we go. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, Jason, thanks for being on. He'll be,
Thanks for having me.
he'll be back every week, threatening him to do that. He'll be a standard on this show, and so we'll pick it up there next time, where we'll talk about more. We'll talk about more news from a Christian perspective, and get into a different study. We'll see. In the meantime, please like, share the video, subscribe. We're on Rumble now, okay? Where we can speak freely. So please support us there, and just be blessed and have a good day, okay? Take care. You want to say anything before we leave?
No, that's about all I got. See you
Okay.
later. See you next time.
Bye.